let's pause here. That's what solo role-playing is about. You know, you get to make up the rules for this thing. And you need to go with what sounds cool to you. And you need to figure out a system that works for you. It's incredibly customizable. It's like playing with Legos. You're saying that, you know, I'm using the Shadowdark rules, but I'm going to use these dice along with it to quickly roll things up. So yes, solo role-playing is awesome. And hopefully this video is showing you that. Hey, everybody. All right, so we are finally doing it. We are doing the Shadowdark Dungeon Gauntlet thing. So we're going to be running this dungeon. We have 4 different heroes, and we don't know very much about this dungeon. So I think that's going to be the first thing that we need to do, is we need to kind of figure out what is the deal with this dungeon. So this is the map that we created in the video on the sandbox generator, which will be right here if you haven't watched it. We created this area, and then I took a little bit of time and I spent some time upgrading the map to something nicer. So here is Mist Hollow. I rolled that up, and this is the same map that we made in the last video. Okay, so looking here, we can see that we are going to be in the secret pits today, which is this area of the map right here. We have 4 different heroes, which we have character sheets for, and we created this on a different video, which is here. We don't know who we're going to play first. We will roll and randomize it. And then for our tools that we're going to be using today, for the dungeon, we are going to be using what are called diagram dungeons. And diagram dungeons comes from a different game. It comes from the Red Tide campaign setting, which was originally developed for the Labyrinth, which is a different old school style game. And so what's cool about diagram dungeons, they kind of look like this. So here is an example of a diagram dungeon. So they're a little bit more simplified, and it makes it a little bit easier to just not have to worry about square footage and grids and all that stuff, drawing the grid out as you explore the dungeon. So it'll make things a little bit faster is what I'm seeing. And then in order to facilitate building the dungeons, we have this special, really chunky die. So this shows us all of our different rooms and the different kind of doors that could be going through it. And then we also have a few other dice that we're using. So if we have traps, if we have treasure, we have these other really big dice. And then we have this Oracle die, which is by the Fate Mill, also a very big, chunky die. Like I talked about in the last episode, this dungeon is going to be a gauntlet. It's very deadly. There is a chance that 1, 2, 3, or 4 of our heroes might not survive this dungeon, especially because, you know, they're level 0. They're not very strong. And that's okay. That's part of the fun. It's going to kind of be kind of a survival thing where they have to use their wits to see if they can figure out how to get out of the dungeon. And I thought a little bit about how I was going to do this. And I think that the way that we're going to do it is when we have to roll to populate things in the dungeon, we are going to roll with what amounts to basically disadvantage. So we'll roll multiple times and we'll take the worst result. And that will allow us to have a deadlier dungeon that's, you know, more likely to have traps, more likely to have monsters, more likely to have, you know, things that make adventurers go dead. Okay, a few other things. We've got miniatures. I like miniatures. And then we have these tokens. And what I like to use these tokens with, I like to use them to track light. So in normal Shadowdark, if you have a torch and you're in a dark area, you know, like a dungeon or whatever, your torch lasts for an hour of real time. But in SoloDark, light sources last 10 rounds instead of 1 hour of real time. So basically, every time we do an action or a turn or whatever in the game, we were going to deduct 1 light token. And then if we ever run out of light, things go bad. We're going to be looking for light sources, ways to replenish our torch, ways to get more light as they explore the dungeon. So we are going to be leaning a little bit more into using the Shadowdark basic Oracle, which I have not used in my last videos. So the way that works is when we ask the question, on 1 through 9 is a no, on 11 through 20 it's a yes, and on a 10 it's a twist. We're going to modify that just a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll be using the Fate Mill die because it pretty much works the same way, but it adds in the ands and the buts, which are nice for, you know, solo play to kind of give the story some twists and turns. But the thing that we will change is this 10 that's a twist, we're going to keep that. So on this die, if you roll a 10, it says maybe. And instead of maybe, we will count that as a twist. We will treat that the same way that a twist works, where we roll on a prompt and we determine its nature. Something unexpected happens if we roll the 10. And oops, we will see if we can make it out of the secret pits and into the rest of Misthold to continue the journey. And you know what? I'm going to go with it. So I'm going to run each character individually. So we will randomize who we get, and we will see who it's going to be first. And all of these characters, this is something that we established in a previous video. All of these characters were previously at some point in their lives couriers for this organization that exists in the world called the Oran Post. And they've all been fired for different reasons from this place, and they have been sent to the secret pits against their will. So they're going to be prisoners waking up in this dungeon. We did talk in the last game that, something's going on in this world where this Castle Lightmore, they're aware that this place exists. They're aware that the secret pits exist, and they are sending people there against their will. And the purpose for that is unknown. So that might be what we find out right. All right, so let's see if we could first use this adventures table here. We know that they are trying to escape, so we're going to not roll for that first detail, but then we'll roll for the detail 2 and detail 3. So the detail 2 will be 15, so escape the relic. Detail 3, stalking the waste. Okay. Escape the relic, stalking the waste. So here's what I'm thinking. And this is a combination of a few ideas. It's what I just rolled. And it's also something that a friend suggested to me after he watched my video. He said there should be some kind of an artifact or something that they're trying to get down in the secret pits. And I liked that. So whoever the bad guys are, right? We don't know who they are yet, but they are after an artifact that's been discovered deep down in the secret pits. An entrance to the Shadowdark has been discovered in the secret pits. And there's a relic down there. There's something of great value that is wanted. However, they need to escape the relic, stalking the wastes. So that makes me think that this relic is either sentient or it's enchanted, and it's like moving around and it's hunting down heroes. So I think that they've been captured because they are supposed to procure this relic. However, the relic moves around on its own and it hunts people. So they want to escape, obviously. They don't want anything to do with this relic. It's something that's, clearly very dangerous. So I think we should roll up and see if the relic will fit within those parameters that we've established. This is the magic item idea generator. So we will roll 3d20, it looks like. So d20 3 times. And we will determine if this is going to fit within what we've established to be the relic. So Shun's Litany, the spirits. Okay, so we're changing a little bit because it's going to line up a little bit more with what we rolled. Shun's Litany of the Spirits makes me think that this relic is some kind of a scroll and some kind of like a song or a document, and it has the power to, wake the dead, to bring back ghosts, and so that's really sought after. It's like this necromantic artifact. And so maybe it's not the artifact itself that's hunting the heroes. Maybe it's the spirits that the artifact conjures. In fact, okay, here's something fun. It's the spirits of, other people that they've sent down there to go obtain this thing. So if any of our characters die during this adventure, they're going to potentially come back as a vengeful spirit that's hunting the other heroes. So I just came up with that on the spot, but I'm going to go with it because the idea excites me and I think it sounds cool. So that's again, just let's pause here. That's what solo role playing is about. You get to make up the rules for this thing, and you need to go with what sounds cool to you, and you need to figure out a system that works for you. It's incredibly customizable. It's like playing with Legos. You're saying that, I'm using the Shadowdark rules, but I'm going to use these dice along with it to quickly roll things up. So yes, solo role playing is awesome. And hopefully this video is showing you that. All right, so the first thing we will do is we're going to take a D4 and we're going to roll and see who is going to be the first here that wakes up in the secret pits. Okay, so let's see who is going to be our first, adventurer. All right, rolling. All right, we got a 3. All right, so we will start with Ruhiel.